Guys, Becky Thames here live for The Drive at 5, and today I'm going to share with you the journey of the Amazon Queen. So the Amazon Queen's journey. Before I get started, my name is Becky Thames, and I am super excited to share with you today exactly how I became the Amazon Queen. And I wanted to share this. I don't think I could share it over there, but that's okay. So I wanted to share with you exactly my journey, right? So how I first started selling online. Hi, Georgie. Thanks for joining. So as you know, someone in South Carolina today won the lottery. And when Bud woke me up this morning, he said, Becky, someone in South Carolina won the lottery. That was literally like the first thing that I heard when I woke up this morning. And my palms started sweating. My heart was like beating out of my chest because, like it was over $1 billion, right? It was over $1 billion. And so my palms and my heart beating like that, that has not happened to me in a long time. And immediately when it happened for me, when my palms started sweating, my heart started beating, it took me back to the place that did happen. And it was in the 90s, late 90s, and I was heartbroken. I had just broken up with my boyfriend at the time, and I had my first credit card. And I remember getting that credit card, and it was $500. And I remember getting it at college, and my mom, they gave me a T-shirt, right? And my mom was like, Becky, you don't need that T-shirt. That credit card. I was like, but Mom, it's $500. Long story short, by the time I graduated from college, I was $1,000 in debt, and my little credit card was maxed out. And I remember standing in line at the convenience store. Back then, I smoked Marlboro Reds like a fiend, right? I was Marlboro Reds and Mountain Dew. And I remember standing in that convenience store line, and I was wondering if my credit card was going to get declined. That's when my palms were sweating. That's when my heart was beating. And I was like, okay. And my friend was working in the store, and I was like, I will be so embarrassed if this card gets declined. And of course it did. It got declined. And to add icing to the cake, the guy that I had been dating, he had a new girlfriend now. And I remember pulling up at the bar, and literally he walked and he gave me my credit card slip, right? Or pack envelope that said my credit card bill. And he was like, you need to pay that, it's late. And his new girlfriend was standing right beside him, and I was like, oh my gosh, Becky Redneck's about to come out. But I didn't. I was okay, but that's what it felt like. Now, I didn't even buy a ticket last night, but my palms were still sweating because Big Papa bought one. And so we were like, let's go downstairs. And I was like, read your numbers. He's like, well, I'll do it later. And I was like, well, why don't you look now? Because if I go to work and the boys go to school, I don't want you to have like a heart attack if you're a winner and you're alone, right? So that was my rationale. And so anyway, he wasn't a winner, but it was just the thinking back and how it totally, even though I didn't buy a ticket, how my palms were sweating and my heart was pounding out of my chest. But because I was in that position where and maybe you're in that position now, your credit cards are maxed, you're praying that your Marlboros and Mountain Dew aren't going to get declined at the convenience store like mine was. And so what I did is I had to find a way to make some money. And so at that time I was going to yard sales and garage sales and pawn shops and buying items and flipping them on eBay. Now I had bought my first house. It was 1,300 square feet, and I would buy all this stuff, and nobody lived there but me, but it was piled up with just junk everywhere. And back then, when you sold something on eBay, you could pack it up and ship it to them. Well, I got into shipping these huge carousel horses, the kind that like stood up, and they were like, 4 feet by 6 feet, and they were on a pole, and they were taking up all this room in my house, and I had them in spare bedrooms and just everywhere, and all this stuff was taken over my house. And I was like, okay. And at that same time, I was seeing, like, I always had bought used clothes, but I would buy like shirts, and I would click on see other items, and the seller that was selling this shirt, they were also selling like lawnmowers and gazebos and storage sheds. And I was like, how in the world are they doing this? There's no way that I could store a gazebo and a storage shed and a lawnmower in my, little 1,300 square foot house. And what I realized is that they were drop shipping. And when I realized that, I was like, it's my aha moment, right? So I had this aha moment because I saw that they were drop shipping. Drop shipping basically means that you sell an item, let's say you sell it on eBay, and then you'll go and order it from, when someone buys it, when someone buys it, you go and order it from Amazon or Walmart. Act like you're ordering it just for yourself, but you put in the buyer's address, and Walmart ships it directly to the buyer, and you never touch the product. That's what drop shipping is. And so I realized that that's what they were doing. And so I said, well, I'm going to start drop shipping, because not only did I have a maxed out credit card, but I had tons and tons and tons of student loan debt, because that's how I was living, was on my student loans, right? And in fact, I was going to school and going to school and going to school just so I wouldn't, just to pay the interest on my student loans instead of paying the actual payment back, right? I don't know if you have student loans, but you probably know what I'm talking about, where you can defer your student loans and just keep deferring and just paying the interest. And that's where I was living at that time. So when I found drop shipping, I learned every single thing. Hey, sweetie. I got Roscoe here. Look. Say hi. He was whining. I learned every single thing that you could learn about selling on Amazon and drop shipping and selling on eBay. And I would stay up late and list. I would wake up early before my boys got up, and I would list. And I literally was living on Big B's Butter Bear lattes, because I was staying up so late, because I was getting up so early. And these lattes, 56 grams of carbs, almost 400 calories in the 16-ounce ones. And I could just feel the fat coming on my body. In fact, in 1 year, I gained 50 pounds in 2015 when I was learning this, right? 2014, 2015. So like half and half, 2015. So I was like, okay. So my husband, Bud, he's very organized and clean, and he doesn't like clutter. So I was like, okay, drop shipping is what I could do. But I would spend so many hours trying to learn this, trying to craft my skill, right? And I swear, I don't have a hammer right now, but I wanted to take a hammer and just like smash that computer screen right there, because I had put so much time, so much effort. I literally pinned it out. My first sale, I lost 7 cents, and I had spent hours and hours and hours. I think I worked out the math literally, and I was making 50 cents an hour. And at one time, Bud looked at me and he was like, Becky, are you going to get up and clean this house? And I looked him square in the eyes, just like I'm looking at this computer screen right now. And I said, no, I'm not. I set a goal to make 10K in 90 days, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to reach my goal. And so I did. I still got to lose sleep, lose everything over it, right? And I was like, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make this work. And so what I did is I said, well, I'll just start doing retail arbitrage. Well, retail arbitrage is when you actually go out to the stores and you buy items that are on sale, on clearance. Sometimes they're not on clearance. And then you physically pack them up and ship them to Amazon. Well, I did that. I was so determined to make this work no matter what. But like I said, Bud didn't like clutter, but I was bringing home all these deals. I was loving the the thrill of finding the good deals, but I wasn't loving the packing and the shipping and, you know, sending these boxes to Amazon. And before I knew it, my car was covered, my dining room table was covered, my spare bedroom was covered with all of these items that were not going to Amazon. I mean, because I was tired, right? So I was like, there has to be a better way. There has to be. So one day I came home. So then I found wholesale, and I was shipping the items from my home. And one day I came home and there were over 200 orders in one day. 200 orders in one day. And I wanted to have so much control over this process, right? So I formed a little assembly line. It was supplements. And I formed a little assembly line with all the neighborhood boys, and they were printing I printed the labels. They were stuffing, putting feedback slips, you know, closing the envelope, putting the label on. And we were taking these big trash bagfuls to the post office and mailing them, right? And if you haven't seen it, I have a rap. Y'all didn't know I was a rapper, but I have a rap out on YouTube. It says, ho, 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 open up your dough. Anyway, go see that. It's pretty cool out there, right? So I was carrying these huge bags to to the post office to be mailed to these Amazon customers. But what happened is I'm 50 pounds overweight. I was trying to be cheap, and I saved like 6 cents on each label that I printed that day. And because of that, 200 packages were shipped to Amazon customers without a tracking number. Now, if you sell on Amazon, one thing that you need to know is you need a tracking number, and you need to upload that tracking number to Amazon. So my very first month on Amazon had $35,000 and my account was suspended. Guys, I curled up literally in the fetal position on my bed upstairs, and I thought my life was over, like seriously. And Bud was like, Becky, what in the world are you doing? You know, you're gonna get the money back, and you just I didn't have anybody to call for money, right? My mom's passed away, Bud's mom's passed away. We had like no money, $35,000, and everything was tied up at Amazon. I mean, like everything. So Big Papa, or Bud, he had a credit card that had never been used, and so he carried us over for that month, and of course our paychecks, but it wiped out my savings. It wiped out everything. So one thing, if you sell on Amazon, please upload the tracking numbers so you don't but Amazon didn't know me from Adam, right? So it was my mistake. That's why my Amazon account got suspended. So then somebody said, well, Becky, why don't you do FBA? And I'm like, I'm not doing FBA. I'm not going to give Amazon 15% of my profit. No way, Jose. Listen, do Amazon FBA, because I sent my items to FBA, and guess what happened? One product sold 1,237 times in one day. And I went on to have over $1.3 million in sales. Actually, it's way more than $1.3 million, but that's when I stopped sharing. But from the very first month after my account was suspended to today, 5 years later, every 2 weeks, I've gotten a deposit from Amazon directly into my South Carolina federal bank account, directly in there. Every 2 weeks, like clockwork. And not only that, I branched out to selling on Walmart. I sell on my own Shopify store. I sell on Amazon, of course. I sell on eBay. So I have money coming into my checking account automatically every single day from something, because I'm a pointer sister, right? Like, I'm so excited. I could just point you in a way. But what happens is a lot of people come in and they see my story and they see my Amazon Queen tiara, but they don't know how I got there. And so I wanted to share this with you tonight to let you know that your credit card may be maxed out. you may have gained 50 pounds because of all the stress. That is part of your journey. If you're looking to earn some money with e-commerce, I promise you, I've been there, I've done that. I can help you. Send me a message and I will do my best to point you in the right direction to help you solve your, whether it's financial issues. You know, those were financial, but I have to tell you one more. And this one, I might cry. Like, I seriously might cry on this one. You guys know I grew up with a single mom, so I never had a dad. And I had some boyfriends, like in some bad relationships, but then I met Big Papa, and he's an amazing man. But my mentor, one of the guys that I learned this from, his name's Roger. And Roger, when I was first learning how to create my own course, I had learned so much from him. I mean, I could if he said it, I could repeat it out of my mouth to you right now. That's how much I listen to him over and over and over again. And I asked him when I was creating my own course, because I didn't want to copy or anything like that, but it was all that I knew at that time. And so I was like, Roger, should I do this? And he's like, well, everybody's making a little bit of money and they're trying to, just go out and teach stuff and da-da-da-da-da. And I actually hired a coach to teach me how to make a course. And I fought with it for a year. And my coach was like, well, there's plenty of people teaching Amazon. You could teach it too, Becky. You know all this stuff. You've got the results. Do it. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, anyway, with my mentor, Roger Langell, there's some people that love him. There's some people that hate him. No matter, what you feel about him or his training or etc., I will be forever grateful. But anyway, he told me, he said, Becky, why do you want to create a course? Why don't you spend your time just finding more products to sell on Amazon? That's what he typed me. I actually have that quote, that message. And I was like, I still sell products on Amazon every single day, but that doesn't make me as happy as Debbie and John leaving today for their first ever vacation/honeymoon from e-commerce. I mean, that's the kind of things that make me cry. Or, Tina was able to save her house from bankruptcy or from foreclosure. There's so many e-commerce stories that, e-commerce is changing people's lives. Maybe it's helping them pay off their credit card. Maybe it's helping someone else stay home with their kids. But that was about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe 4 now, when he said, because that's when I was just learning from him. Well, I've gone on and I've invested tens of thousands of dollars in my e-commerce education. And this is the first time that I'm sharing this publicly. But Roger sent me a message. And he said, I'm proud of you. And no man has ever told me that before. So, and I have the message. And I've never told him that he was the only one that's ever said, I'm proud of you. But all I want to do is just help everybody make their first time online. Because I know that you can do it. You just have to have the belief that you can do it. And if you don't believe, guys, I believe for you. I really do. Hey, Rara. Rara knows I'm crying. I just love dogs. But that's what I wanted to share today. Just the story of how I became the Amazon queen. Thanks for all of your encouraging comments today. This is literally the the first time I've shared this entire story, so there you have it. You can do with it what you want, but I really do want to help you earn your first time online. And if you have any questions or comments, send them to me. And love your heart and soul. You're such a hardworking, caring person. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. But I did just want to share that because I don't know, it was very special to me. Hey Wendell, thanks for joining. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for hearing my journey. Wendell, he actually grew up on, his name's Wendell Addison. I grew up on Addison Road. So he knows like where I came from and how we were like the poorest people on the street. But, you know, my mom did the best that she could. And actually, you know, my senior class of North High School, they voted me most intelligent and most likely to succeed. And when I was thinking back to my story, you know, earlier when my credit card was maxed out and how I was standing in the parking lot of the bar when Marty handed me that envelope, I was just like, I don't know, it was just like today, my palms were sweating again, and my heart was beating so fast. And I'm just so grateful that, you know, that journey's over. But it made me who I am today, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And, you know, I met this guy one time. His name was Lynn. And Lynn had told me that he ran into like one of his ex-girlfriends. We were just chit-chatting. And I was like, you did? And he goes, yeah, Becky. She was fat and she was on food stamps. And he thought that was funny. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, people, you know, I've already told you that every one of my ex-boyfriends are here on Facebook. And do you know that every one of my ex-boyfriends, every one of them has looked at e-commerce? They've called me. They were like, Becky, they didn't say I'm so proud of you, but they were like, Becky, what are you doing? You're definitely touching lives. You're changing people's lives. So once again, I'm a pointer sister. I'll just point them in the right direction as well. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Thank you so much for listening to my journey. And, you know, no matter how much anybody hurts you or whatever, I mean, back then my heart was broken into a million little pieces, and now I can smile and be grateful that I went through that journey. So I'm glad that you all were inspired by my story, but please know that I do believe in you. And if you have any questions, send me a message, and I'd love to help you with your e-commerce journey. Have an amazing night.